Here we are on Highway 93, almost to Hoover Dam and the Arizona-Nevada border. On this side, we have the Colorado River that cuts a blue ribbon through the Bajadas and provides life-supporting water for everyone downstream. On this side, we have Highway 93, a major artery leading to the glitz and glamour of Las Vegas. Caught between an immovable object and an unstoppable force are herds of majestic bighorn sheep. Today, we're capturing 30 of those sheep, affixing radio collars, and then releasing them back into the wild. Bruce Eilertz explains.
Well, this is a joint effort with Arizona Game and Fish and Arizona Department of Transportation, and this is a project that's been in motion for a long time. We're working on a serious bypass here on US 93. It's a bridge to bypass the actual Hoover Dam for many reasons, mostly for national security, and the highway just wasn't big enough.
When the bridge spanning the Colorado River is finally open and the roadway is increased from its current 2 lanes to 4, wildlife will run headlong into some serious trouble. We're here to try to mitigate some environmental impacts that could potentially occur from the road construction as well as the increased traffic. And the most affected wildlife? The desert bighorn sheep that call these lands their home.
And what we're doing is we're finding ways to move bighorn sheep from one side of the road to the other. And basically highways are a serious physical barrier to movement of wildlife all over the world. And we're finding here through radio telemetry studies that bighorn sheep don't like to cross the road, and those that do are often killed by vehicles. So today we're here to work with Game and Fish to capture sheep, collar them, and from then on out we'll use that data to bolster our research and make decisions in terms of wildlife management.
By affixing the radio collars and tracking sheep locations both before and after the expansion, we'll have a better idea of the impacts that the bighorn may be facing. And those collars, they have some very special features. Jeff Gagnon explains.
This is a satellite collar, and we can get a location on sheep every 2 hours during the day. And it's sent back to us on a computer so we can look at it on the computer and see where they've been. It's got a receiver, a GPS receiver in it, which takes the satellite locations, and then another satellite can pick those locations back up and find out where that collar's at. This also has a VHF transmitter, so when the collar falls off, or we can go in and find that animal, or find the collar and pick it up to use it later. This is the automatic release mechanism, so in 22 months, this collar will fall off on the ground automatically, and we can go in and pick it up, and they don't have to wear the collar for their whole lives.
As the bighorn travel back and forth across the highway looking for food or shelter, they play a very real and very dangerous, sometimes fatal game of dodgeball, one that both the animal and the vehicle will lose.
From a transportation point of view, we have the obvious safety issue. An animal and a vehicle meeting at 80 miles an hour is not a good thing. We have property damage, loss of life, injury. There's the insurance part of that. So there's a lot of benefit to doing this now and saving money in the future.
Since a bighorn sheep isn't going to wait patiently by the side of the road for a pedestrian light to change, just how does one get a large herd of animals across a 4-lane highway? The traditional method has been with an underpass.
For sheep, they like to have line of sight. They like to know what they're going into and coming out of. So if there's a wall there, or it's offset where they can't see through it, they generally be more reluctant to go through it, worried about predators. They don't know what's going to be in there. So the smaller the structure, the harder time they have convincing themselves to go through. So the more wide open, like the one we have behind us, there's sheep under it right now. And they don't mind the more wide open where they can see, they can walk up on ledges. And so the bigger the better in the case of that visual distance that they can see.
Bighorn sheep by nature don't like to go under things. They prefer high ridge lines where they can see the activity happening beneath them. So culvert and roadway engineers had to really start thinking outside the box. If we can't get the sheep under the road, how about over the road?
The best case scenario with this animal, bighorn sheep, are the wildlife overpasses. And those are literally bridges for animals that we build over the highway. And we're going to terraform the top of these structures, soil and rocks, try to make that as attractive as possible to the animals. And as they follow the ridge line, they'll hit these overpasses and, in theory, cross right over.
There's 3 overpasses going in along on this stretch of 93, and we've got different sizes. One of them, the biggest one, is going to be 100 feet wide, and then the other 2 are going to be around 50 feet wide. And the idea there is sheep like to be up high. So when they're crossing the highway, we suspect that they prefer to be up high and can walk on that ledge and be able to not worry about going through an area where predators may be. And so we want to have them as natural looking as possible so they'll be able to go up to them and feel comfortable going across there. And we want to have different sizes to test so we can figure out, is there a difference? Will they choose a larger one over a smaller one? And we use the fencing to funnel them to it in the first place, and then they'll use it from that point on. And we're going to be monitoring those for probably up to 4 years to see how long it takes them to get used to using those on a regular basis.
Helicopter captures are expensive, very expensive. The cost for the 30 radio collars, $130,000. Factor in the cost of employee time for the capture and the tracking, and you're looking at one very large tab. Enter the Arizona Bighorn Sheep Society. Anytime we're working with sheep, they're alongside and help defray the costs.
Yeah, I think the financial support was around $100,000. You know, there's a lot of highway mortalities over here, and so we think it's very important that we can cut down on those and keep the sheep off the highways, and supposedly that's what this is going to do, so we're excited about that.
Everybody wins here, whether you're transportation minded, conservation minded, or even just a motorist on the highway. You could rest assured that your chances of hitting wildlife in areas such as this, where this type of work is being done, are greatly reduced.
Bighorn sheep have had thousands of years to learn how to adapt to this dry, arid country. They don't have thousands of years to learn how to dodge speeding cars. Hopefully, through activities like this, we've provided an escape for the bighorn so they can continue to roam these lands.